Maybe some people are just too slow for this school. That's what Mr. Daniels said while staring directly at me. And the worst part? Everybody laughed. 30 students, full classroom. Even the kids who normally stayed quiet started smirking. Meanwhile, I just sat there frozen, holding a math test with a giant red 32% written across the front. Mr. Daniels slowly shook his head, then said, "At this point, you're lowering the class average." More laughter. I remember gripping my desk so hard my fingers hurt. And honestly, that moment changed everything, because what nobody in that classroom knew yet was that Mr. Daniels had just humiliated the wrong student. Mr. Daniels was the type of teacher who clearly enjoyed embarrassing students publicly, especially quieter students, especially students who struggled. If you answered incorrectly, he'd repeat your answer dramatically until people laughed. If your marks dropped, he announced them out loud. And if you looked nervous while presenting, even worse. The guy treated class humiliation like entertainment. Meanwhile, students who were already confident loved him because he joked around with them constantly. Popular kids especially. Athletes too. But if you were awkward, anxious, or struggling academically, good luck. You became a target. And unfortunately for me, I became one of his favorites. At first, it was smaller things. Mocking my handwriting. Making comments about how quietly I spoke. Telling people to wake me up if I ever answered slowly. Stuff everybody brushed off as jokes. But over time, the comments got worse and more personal. One afternoon while handing back assignments, Mr. Daniels stopped beside my desk and loudly said, "You know, effort only matters when intelligence is involved too." The class exploded laughing. Even students sitting near me looked uncomfortable afterward. But nobody said anything, because challenging teachers at our school basically never happened, especially teachers like Mr. Daniels. He was respected, popular with parents too. The school loved him because his students usually got high grades. Meanwhile, people like me just got crushed underneath that reputation. The weird thing is, I wasn't even a bad student originally. Before Mr. Daniels' class, math used to be one of my best subjects. But once somebody humiliates you repeatedly in front of others, you stop participating. You stop asking questions. Eventually, you stop trying completely because failure feels guaranteed anyway. And that's exactly what happened to me. Every class became stressful. I started pretending to be sick just to avoid presentations. My marks dropped harder every month. Then Mr. Daniels started making examples out of me. Literally. One morning, he projected my failed test onto the smartboard for the entire class to learn from mistakes. Not anonymous either. My name was still on top. I genuinely wanted the floor to swallow me. Then he pointed at one answer and said, "This might actually be the worst method I've seen all year." People laughed again. And honestly, that moment nearly broke me. Things got worse after midterms because my parents started getting concerned about my grades, especially my dad. And during parent-teacher meetings, Mr. Daniels completely flipped personalities. Suddenly, he became calm, professional, concerned. He told my parents I was unmotivated and disconnected from learning. Didn't mention the humiliation. Didn't mention mocking students publicly. Nothing. So naturally, my parents believed him instead of me. Why wouldn't they? He was the respected teacher. I was just the kid failing math. Then came the science fair incident, still one of the most humiliating days of my life. Each student had to present projects in front of teachers and parents. I spent almost 2 weeks building mine. Late nights, cardboard everywhere in my room. I actually worked hard on it. And for once, I felt proud. Then while I was presenting, I got nervous and stumbled over one explanation. And Mr. Daniels interrupted me in front of everybody. "Relax. We already know public speaking isn't your talent." Parents laughed awkwardly. My ears immediately got hot. Then he added, "Maybe next time let somebody smarter help you prepare." That one hit hard. Really hard. Because at that moment, I realized something terrifying. He genuinely enjoyed humiliating me. After that day, students got worse too. because once authority figures mock somebody publicly, everybody else feels allowed to join in. People started calling me 32%. Some students repeated Mr. Daniels' jokes. One guy even asked if I needed special classes. And honestly, the worst part wasn't even the bullying. It was knowing the teacher caused it. Then came the plot twist nobody expected. About 2 months before final exams, our school introduced new classroom recording systems, mostly for safety and online archive purposes. Tiny cameras mounted above whiteboards. Most students forgot they existed after a week. But I didn't, because one afternoon, after another humiliating class, something strange happened. I stayed behind pretending to pack slowly while everyone left. And that's when I overheard Mr. Daniels talking to another teacher near the hallway, laughing about me, actual laughing. Then Mr. Daniels said, "Some students need embarrassment, otherwise they never learn." The other teacher looked uncomfortable and quietly said, "You're taking it a bit far." Mr. Daniels just shrugged. That conversation stayed in my head the entire weekend because suddenly I realized something. Those classroom cameras probably recorded everything. Every insult, every humiliation, every public joke. And for the first time in months, I felt something besides embarrassment. Curiosity. I started paying attention carefully after that. And once I did, I noticed something disturbing. Mr. Daniels only humiliated certain students, quiet students, students with lower grades, students unlikely to fight back. But around top-performing students or wealthy parents, completely different personality, friendly, patient, supportive. The guy wasn't strict. He was selective. That's when I decided to do something risky. I started documenting everything. Dates, comments, witnesses, even student reactions afterward. At first, I didn't really know why. I just knew something felt wrong. Then came the classroom breakdown. And honestly, that's the day everything changed permanently. It was a Thursday morning. Cold weather. Everybody tired. Mr. Daniels was reviewing exam prep questions on the board. Then he called on a girl named Kiara. Quiet girl. Always anxious. She answered incorrectly. And immediately Mr. Daniels started doing his usual thing. Repeating her answer dramatically. Making faces. Students laughing. But this time, Kiara suddenly started crying. Like full crying. Hands shaking. Whole classroom silent. And instead of apologizing, Mr. Daniels rolled his eyes and said, "If school is this stressful for you, adulthood is going to destroy you." Nobody laughed that time, not even the popular kids, because suddenly everything felt uncomfortable, real uncomfortable. Kiara grabbed her bag and walked out crying, while the room stayed completely silent. And honestly, that moment snapped something inside me, because watching somebody else get destroyed the same way I did made me realize how messed up everything actually was. That afternoon, I went to the administration office, hands sweating the entire time, and asked if classroom recordings were archived. The secretary looked confused, but said yes. Then I filed an official complaint. Not emotional either. Detailed, specific dates, specific comments, specific incidents, including Kiara's breakdown. At first, nothing happened, for almost 2 weeks, and honestly, I thought they ignored it. Then one Monday morning, something weird happened. Mr. Daniels didn't show up. Instead, another teacher supervised class quietly, while students whispered nonstop. Then during lunch, rumors exploded everywhere. Apparently, administration reviewed classroom recordings after multiple students came forward, following my complaint. And the footage looked bad. Really bad. Not strict teacher bad. Humiliation bad. Mocking students. Targeting students. Public insults. Everything recorded clearly. The science fair comments too. The projected test humiliation. Even Kiara crying. All on video. Within days, parents got involved. Then more students started speaking up publicly. Former students too. Apparently, Mr. Daniels had behaved like this for years, but because nobody documented it properly before, nothing ever happened. Until now. Then came the craziest part. One parent uploaded a clip online. Not the whole footage, just enough, and suddenly everybody outside school saw it too. The comments destroyed him. Teachers from other schools criticized him publicly. Parents got furious. Even students who liked him originally started distancing themselves, because seeing those moments on video felt completely different from hearing stories. It looked cruel, because it was cruel. Mr. Daniels got suspended almost immediately pending investigation, and honestly, the atmosphere at school changed overnight. Students became quieter. Teachers suddenly acted way more careful about how they spoke to people. Even the principal gave some speech about creating supportive learning environments, clearly damage control. But the best moment happened about a month later. Final exams results came out, and for the first time in forever, I actually passed math properly again. Not because I magically became smarter, because once the humiliation stopped, I could finally think clearly again. Funny how that works. Then, one afternoon after school, I saw Mr. Daniels unexpectedly. Not at school, at a grocery store. No suit, no confident teacher voice, just him pushing a trolley alone, looking exhausted. And the second he recognized me, his expression changed instantly. Not anger, not arrogance. Embarrassment. Actual embarrassment. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Then quietly, almost awkwardly, he said, "I was hard on you because I thought pressure created discipline." I just stared at him, because honestly, that excuse sounded pathetic after everything. Then before walking away, I said, "No, sir, you were hard on students because nobody ever embarrassed you back." Dead silence. His face dropped immediately. And honestly, that felt better than revenge, because for the first time, he finally understood what public humiliation actually felt like.